Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, y'all. I'm your host, Bull. Today we're going to be early scouting Alabama. That's our fourth SEC game of the 2025 season. We hate them. They hate us. Third Saturday in October. It gets no better than that. And we beat them last season inside of Neyland. I think that we could replicate a lot of the things that we had success with last year. And I'm one of the people, just like most folks, that said, hey, this is probably going to be a loss for Tennessee going on the road to face Alabama with a very talented roster. But the more that I broke down this matchup, the more that I feel like Tennessee could actually leave Tuscaloosa with the win. And I'm going to break down why I see it that way, as we go throughout this video. But I think that this is one that's probably going to end up being a shootout. The one thing that still concerns me, I would say more than anything else, is if it comes down to that last drive, playing in Tuscaloosa, we haven't won there in, 20-something years. The referees cheat. I mean, that is a fact. Like, they definitely cheat. And I don't know if it's going to bounce in our favor. So Tennessee really needs to win this one by multiple scores for us to be able to come out of there with that victory. But we will be breaking everything down, of course, with the All-22 film from last season and showing you what we see with this matchup in 2025 very early on. But as always, y'all, please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's 100% free, and it helps us out tremendously. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So I want to start off with the rosters, just looking at the talent. Of course, this is all from 24/7 Sports, and we're going to start with Alabama's offense. So every player that's in gold is going to be the incoming transfers. The players in that pink or purple color, those are the incoming freshmen, but they have a total of 30 blue chip caliber players with 7 5-stars. So most of the talent will be with their skill players. I think that their skill players on offense, defense, special teams might be the best in the whole doggone country. They got some real studs, not just based off of the ratings, but actually watching them play, their size, their skill set. It's crazy. Plenty of good quarterbacks, plenty of good wide receivers, running backs. Not so many good tight ends. The offensive line will be fine, but Alabama fans will tell you that they don't like their tackle depth. So I think that this is a game that might kind of come down to who can stop the other team's passing game the most. Looking at Tennessee's defense, you can see that we have a total of 27 blue chip caliber players. So not that far from that standpoint, but we only have 2 5-stars. So that's going to be the biggest difference with these rosters, is that Alabama has more high-end talent than what Tennessee has. I think that we all know that. But we're built to, get after the passer, stop the run, and to stop all the outside passing. We talk a lot as Tennessee fans about our safeties. This is a game that I don't think the safeties will make that much of a difference because Alabama wants to go deep to the outside. That's mainly how their offense works. So this actually plays into Tennessee's hand. Now let's look at Alabama on defense. You can see that they have a total of 24 blue chip caliber players with 10 5-stars. So they're loaded on all 3 levels. They got guys up front that can get after the passer. They got, linebackers that can stop the run, that can do coverage, that will blitz well. But for me, the thing that I like the most about their defense is with their secondary. They are loaded. They've got great size with guys that can cover. They're physical. That's going to be the toughest part, I think, of their defense. And now looking at Tennessee's offense, we have a total of 22 blue chip caliber players with 3 5-stars. We got some very talented wide receivers, but they're young. Our tight end room is deep. We're going to be able to run the ball. We did it last season. We're going to be able to do it again this year. That's just Coach Heupel's system. We'll be able to run the ball all day long. Offensive line should be significantly better than it was last season. So I'm definitely looking forward to this matchup. And with all that being said, y'all, let's go on ahead and jump into the actual film breakdown. So we're going to start with Tennessee's offense. Really, we're going to be focusing on Tennessee's passing offense because I don't think that the running game is going to be any issue like we just talked about. Last season, 43 carries, 214 yards, 5 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. They're not going to really be able to stop it. That's just how their defense is set up. As far as the passing game, though, 14 of 28 for 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. We gave up 4 sacks. The pressure rate was at about 31%, and Alabama blitzed 36% of the time. So the main thing that I want to focus on with Tennessee's passing game to show you why I have some confidence is because Alabama played us so straight up and down, and I think that they'll probably replicate that in 2025. You cannot play this offense straight up and down. It's too easy for us. That's why the offense got as good as it did get. Teams had to make some funky defenses to be able to stop what this offense does. Alabama, they're not doing it. So I think that we'll be able to replicate it. And like I said, we missed on several touchdowns. We'll highlight that as we go throughout this film. Not going to show you every single play. These are just the key plays in our passing game. So looking at this play art, you can see what Tennessee's route combinations look like. This is going to be a cover 0 with the middle zone. And for every time that we go to a coverage for the first time, I'll show you what that looks like just so that we're all on the same page. Looking at the play art, though, the player that has that's highlighted or that's kind of like filled in with that light blue, that's the player that's being targeted in coverage. So that's where the football is going to go. But with all those things being said, let's go ahead and jump into how this play looks for Tennessee and why I feel so confident about our chances to be able to strike down the field and score a lot of points in this game. So, number one, with cover zero, looking at that green area that's outlined in red, that's just showing that cover zero means that there are 0 people playing deep. It could be man everywhere, which typically that's what it is. It's going to be man everywhere. And if you're not playing man, you're typically going to be blitzing. But what Alabama does, it's crazy that they even tried this, but they're going to have linebackers dropping into like this middle coverage to try to take away that like middle area, which is of course like if it's hot, right? So if there's blitzes coming, if it's cover zero, you want to try to get to the inside first, especially because Tennessee spreads the field out. But whenever you drop the guys back into coverage, you're basically just giving us more time to be able to operate down the field. So all that green grass that we're looking at right there deep, at some point, people will come open. You cannot play man-to-man coverage without blitzing for too long. So they're not bringing the pressure, and this is easy pitch and catch, right? For anybody. It doesn't matter if it's Nico. This is easy pitch and catch for college quarterbacks. So you can see that we were able to get that first down. Next, we have a cover three. Y'all can see where everything's going. I'm going to go ahead and let this thing roll. Actually, I think that the route combinations in this game was a lot better. Coach Heupel does a much, much, much better job of scheming up our, route combos versus better teams. So versus UGA, versus Alabama, versus Florida, you'll see some different wrinkles. So here, this is what cover three looks like. That safety that's kind of playing down in the box is going to go to that, deep look, that deep middle look. He's going to end up moving as we kind of like motion over. But cover three just means that there's 3 players playing deep. So every time that you hear coverage, just know that if it's cover three, then that means that there's 3 deep. If it's cover zero, there's 0 deep. If it's cover one, there's 1 deep, so on and so forth. But you can see that, again, with cover three, there's holes. If they don't get pressure, then we will be able to find those holes. It's typically going to be underneath to the outside, some deeper crossing patterns. That is routine stuff for an offense like this. Next, we have another cover three. Y'all can see that we've got pretty good route combinations. Outside verts, we got the post on the inside. We got the dig on that on that left side. And now, we're dropping back. Not a lot of pressure. I think that the offensive line did a good job. And this right here, this is the first one that should have been 6. This should have been a touchdown. Have a guy wide open. The pass is a little bit overthrown. Some of them is going to be on the quarterback. Some of it's going to be on those wide receivers. Cover three on this one. Tennessee does a lot of vertical stuff, but like I said, in this game, I think that we did a much better job. And like I keep on talking about, with these, just like basic coverages, Alabama's really not hiding nothing. So it makes it very easy for us to identify what's going on. Tennessee loves to run those option routes. And this looks like this would be number 2. Yeah, so this is number 2. We have Squirrel White on this post. That should have been 6. But we're going to replicate this. If they're going to play us straight up and down, there's too much speed on this team. I think that the wide receivers are actually, maybe more talented than they were last season. Offensive line is definitely going to be better. Cover three here too. So got the motion. I think that we also did a really good job with our pre-snap movement in this game. Plenty of time to be able to operate. Again, that's an underneath this comeback route for a first down. I think that this year coming up, what we're going to see with Tennessee is our young guys playing a wide receiver, even at tight end or running back, whatever. I think that they'll be able to make people miss and get some more yards after the catch. So this is cover 1. Y'all can see how the route combinations look. It's still very vertical, but there's a little bit more wiggle to it. So this is cover 1. Like I said, it's man-to-man. Cover 1 just means that there's one person that's playing deep. It's typically going to be one of those safeties. Looking at the linebackers, they could be covering, maybe like a running back if they come out. If they don't come out, then they might blitz or they might just drop into like a little coverage, like a little bit of a zone. And then for the other linebacker that I don't have any play art for him, he's probably spying our quarterback. I don't know how much they're going to do that in 2025 just because we don't really have, I don't think, quarterbacks that are that mobile. But either way, this is actually going to be Gaston Moore. Comes in, actually has a guy on the outside, but throwing it on the run to, moving to your right, that's not the best. That was not the best thing. So here, this is cover 6. All right. And, again, all this stuff, it's so straight up and down. You can kind of tell what the heck is going on. And actually, let me go back just a little bit so that y'all can see how cover 6 looks. I didn't mean to skip that. But let me make sure I got this thing moving. Okay, so here we go. So this is cover 6. It's going to be cover 2 on the top, cover 4 on the bottom. 2 plus 4 is 6. And I don't like cover 6 for our team to play because there's so many holes in it. But I'm happy whenever other teams play it. Typically, I feel like you play cover 6 if you don't know what to do. So here, we do a really good job motioning that running back out to the flats, making them have to bite up on it hard. We got people open down the field all day long. It's simple. It's very easy. We knew what they were in. They're not hiding things very well. We will be able to replicate these things in 2025. This is cover 3. All right. And right here, I think this is going to be a simple little comeback. Yeah, so just an outside comeback versus cover 3, that's there. all the time. If you give the quarterback enough time to be able to operate, that's there. That's easy pitch and catch. This is cover one. All right. And see, look, like Alabama, they're really not hiding what they're in. You can really tell it's a one high look. It's very, very obvious. So there, we've got a guy that is going to work on this scramble drill because we didn't give the quarterback enough time. So now the quarterback has to get outside of the pocket. Ask yourself, will our young wide receivers be able to do this same type of thing? Will the new quarterback be able to do this? I think so. I think that we got some ballers. So I'm not too concerned about it. You'll have to do it sometimes. This is 3 verts in the red area. And we did a lot of this versus Bama, just kind of, going vertical on them. And what you'll see is the players that's highlighted in orange on the bottom half of the screen, they were probably more open than the one up at the top that's in red. Really the one in orange at the bottom that's closest to the sideline. You maybe could have fit this football in. It would have been a tough pass. It's a dangerous pass, but that would probably be the best option out of this. So quarterback, Nico, he's scrambling out. I really think he wanted to try to, run, and then he tried to throw the football out of bounds. He gets hit, so the ball flutters, and of course, that's a pick. So, things like that can happen, but we need to minimize turnovers in this game. All right, so this is cover one, very obviously cover one. There's no hiding that, and then they're playing off cover one. We'll take the underneath stuff all day long. Our offense should be able to move the football very well. We already know, man. We had turnovers. I think on that opening drive, right? Dylan Sampson fumbles or somebody fumbled. Might have been Nico, whoever it was. We can't have those types of things. So here, we've got Squirrel just going deep, and the ball really hits him right in his face. We all know that Squirrel was banged up. He had like a shoulder deal. I think after this play, he actually ends up coming out. He really shouldn't have been playing, but at this point, that's neither here nor there. But can we hit on these types of passes? That was, 40 or 50 yards that could have been added to our total, and now we're in scoring range. But this is cover one, okay? And also, just pay attention to the route combinations. So here, man, we've got Dante Thornton, who was really open for a touchdown. So this would have been number 3 that we missed. You step up into the pocket, just loft that one up real soft into the end zone. That's 6 points. Okay, nobody's going to catch Dante Thornton. We have guys that are fast. We have guys that can run, I think, better routes than what we had last season. I don't know if we have anybody that's going to be as big and as fast as Dante Thornton was. So either way, this is another part of Tennessee's offense. Do we have a quarterback that can do this, that can just scamper and give you, 30 yards very safely, which is why I'm not too mad that he didn't throw that. I don't think that we do, but, it's I think that we'll still be able to make up for it by maybe hitting that pass. So here we have a slant. This will be number 4. This should have been a touchdown too. It hits Brew, I think, like right in his hands, and he doesn't make the catch. That's pretty rare, but we were able to dial some things up. That's the whole point, y'all. With the way that they play defense, this is going to be that same cover 0 with that middle zone. But with the way that they play, and I love this play. Absolutely love this, because we knew, based off of how we're lining up, that Alabama was going to go to this 0 look with that middle zone, showing the pressure but really dropping off. All we do is we're going to, sprint out to our fastest wide receiver side. We know that they can't cover us down the field, and we're just going to throw it up, make the throw a little bit easier. So I love this from Coach Heupel, from Coach Halsley. But, I was just pretty much saying that we can scheme it up versus them. They make it pretty easy. They make it pretty simple. So this is cover 3. All right, and we've already seen that we've had several times where we should have scored some touchdowns. So right here, again, just well, actually, no, this is not even the play that I thought it was. This is one that was going to Brew. This would have been 4.5, right? Just because maybe Brew would have scored if he catches this. I think that our guys this season would probably score if they catch this. It's all about open field running, which I think that we're a lot better at in 2025. But that was just a bad pass. It was overthrown. We kind of selled that one. So listen, plenty of points left out there. I think that this game really, man, Tennessee could have won this game by like 28 points. So here, this is number 5, right? This should have been 6. You have your wide receiver stacking on top of their cornerback. All you got to do is loft it up nice and soft, and this should be 6. And actually, this ball really should have been caught. That's a drop. So that's Brazel. He had the most drops in this game than any other game the whole season. But I think he's going to do a lot better in 2025. This is cover 1. Again, pre-snap movement. Love it. They're showing us what they're in. Very obvious, very easy. Okay, everyone knows what the heck's going on here. So this right here should have been number 6. Okay, because our slot guy is open. You throw that up for grabs. That should be 6. But Nico's going to throw it to the outside wide receiver. That's also could have been 6. You know what I mean? But that was just a poorly thrown ball. So leaving a lot of points out there. This is cover 1. Really like the route combinations. It's not so straight up and down. I love the post in this red area. That's actually open. But this is the last one. That's that slot fade to Chris Brazel. Hopefully, we will be able to replicate that in 2025, and I definitely think that we will. So let's move on. Okay, let's talk about Alabama's offense. We're going to focus on their passing game. Look at what they did. Rushing the football was not great at all. 34 carries, 75 yards, 2.2 yards per carry with 1 touchdown. We all know that last season they had a quarterback that was very mobile. Very strong point of emphasis for Tennessee was to slow down what their quarterback could do with his legs and to try to stop all those deep shots. Their new quarterback is probably going to be Ty Simpson, I think, to start. Who will be the starter for this game. He can move, but he's not going to be nearly as mobile, much better passer, not as much of a rusher. But Alabama, and it's not just with their coaching staff at Bama, but even back at Washington, they will not stick to the run. They want to pass the football. They really only run it to try to set passes up. So as far as their passing game, they threw the football 45 times, 25 of 45 for 249, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 4 sacks. The pressure rate was 40%. Tennessee blitzed at 42% of the time. Hopefully all that makes sense. But we're not going to break this part of it down as much. I do want for y'all to see the play art for their offense to see maybe if there's some differences with what they like to do versus Tennessee. A lot of similarities. They want to go deep. There's a whole lot of vertical stuff, but they will have some more horizontal stuff. But here, you can see that Tennessee does a really good job with our coverage because, again, they're going after cornerbacks and our stars. You're not going to see that much from our safeties. Here, sprint out, they're trying to, fake the run and throw it deep. If Tennessee's able to stop the run like we did last season with, a pretty light box, we're not biting too hard up on that. So I love how that looks. But we will see some plays where, the quarterback just misses people that were open, right? Again, we're not going to go through all the passes because that's way too many. Here, I think that it was too much time. That's a very accurately thrown football. There was good coverage, but, perfect offense beats perfect defense every single time. So, they're going to get theirs for sure. It's going to be important to see, can Tennessee replicate the pressure that we got on them last season? I don't know if it comes as much from our edge guys, but from our tackles, I think so. I think that we could do it. I actually think that our tackles are going to do a much better job than they did last year. So this right here actually looks like this is, I don't know what this coverage is. Hard to tell. It could have been some sort of a 1 or, some sort of a makeshift coverage, but you can tell that Tennessee's right there. We can match up with them physically. That's mostly what this is going to be about. We have the guys on the outside that can match up physically, and can we get to the quarterback? Keep on hitting them just like that. That's an RPO. You throw it up to our best cornerback, who I think people won't try to target as much. We'll see. It's going to all be based off of what does he do whenever he comes back. But I think that some of these other guys will get a lot more targets in this game. All right, so next play we've got. This is a great one. Y'all gonna love this one. So we are in the red area. They try to throw some fades, and you tried the wrong guy with that. Don't ever do that again. I promise. They probably won't make that same mistake again next year. But next season, I do expect for us to score on this, right? Like, we got guys that I feel like we'll get some interceptions. We're gonna have plenty of opportunities because if you slow down their run, it's pretty much 7-on-7 at that point. So, yeah, I feel good about it. Now they go to the other side, same thing. Now, that one wasn't a very accurately thrown football. They'll also bunch things up and kind of like run these spot routes, which we're very used to. It's going to be linebackers in coverage for this, but we knew exactly what was coming, very, very well coached. So one thing that I will point out, though, is in this, you can see that there is a player. I think that is a running back that they flexed out as a wide receiver. He's actually open down here. So things like that, that can be a little bit of an issue. Will they find that next season? It's possible, right? Because the quarterback's going to be more pass first and not as run first as they were last season. You see this right here is 4 verts. You got the drag coming underneath. They love to go empty, but last season, whenever they went empty, like we just talked about, it was more quarterbacks going to use his legs. They can do it again. It's just not going to be as much of a threat, I don't think. You can see right here, there is a player open. That was missed. All right, so now we're going to start to get to some of the ones that they actually missed. And then, try to throw it to the guy that's underneath on the outside, poorly thrown ball. Those types of passes could, they could hit that. Their passing games are going to be good. We got to get pressure on them, just like we do here. Great jump. And, make the quarterback have to, throw it errant. Let's get the daggum football, and let's see if we can't score there. I think that we're going to have some opportunities just because we will really be able to pin our ears back in this game. I would anticipate that Tennessee probably plays a lot more man. So last season versus NC there, you're seeing some of those crossing patterns will get open. Just stick your neck in there as a safety or, whatever, and make a play. But last year, Tennessee mostly versus Alabama, we mostly played cover 3. Second most was some sort of a man, whether that's cover 1, whether that's cover 0. We did a whole lot of that. I think that it might be even more 0, even more man, because we don't really have a quarterback that can use their legs. So you're not scared to turn your back to them and see what they can do down the field. Now here, more people are open. All right, so I'm going to show you This one isn't crazy open, but he is open right there. It's kind of a tough window, but maybe next season or this upcoming season, they might be able to hit on that. So you have to look out for it. And yeah, they can operate with some of the basic ones and twos types of stuff and just kind of like keep things moving. Here, again, everything that they do is based off of the vertical game. They want to go vertical. So you could pretty much run cover four for most of the game. And with some of these crossing patterns, see, this is what scares you playing man. It is tough to stop this. There's actually Ricky Gibson who's in coverage, kind of playing in in that slot area. That's tough. Versus guys that can run like that, it's difficult. But I know that Coach Banks is gonna have a really good game plan for this one. Here you've got post and smash. So they will do a little bit of pre-snap movement. And I mean, everything's covered up down the daggum field. That's great coverage, getting some pressure on the quarterback, making him have to throw the ball quicker than he wants to. That's not accurate. That, to me, was on everybody. The whole defense played great. Here we've got a mesh concept. They will use their running backs coming out of the backfield on some wheels. The linebackers definitely have to do a really good job here. Beautiful job by the linebacker picking that up. And also, Will freaking Brooks. Beautiful job right here. I'm going to show you exactly where he is. Boom. Watch Will Brooks as he clamps down on this crossing pattern. Boom. Helps out his teammate, so that it's easy for everybody, or it's easier. And then, you see Boo kind of chirping to him. And this is the last one. This is Will Brooks' pick to seal things up. And you got to feel good seeing this. It's a hell of a feeling every time that we beat Alabama. I think that we can do it again. And I feel very confident with it. So that's going to be it for this film breakdown, y'all, for this, entire breakdown. Just very, very early on versus Alabama. I think that Tennessee can win with our passing game. Of course, it starts with the running game and stopping the run. I have no doubts that Tennessee will outrush Alabama. I have no doubts that we'll force them into what we did last season, where they have to pass the football more. And then it's just all about, like we said, man, having some tight coverage and having players that just aren't busting in coverage and then getting after that passer, which are things that Tennessee does a very, very good job of. But with all that being said, please leave your thoughts down in the comments section. And as always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.